SEMO ESPN app. Also, watch the Red Hawks Coaches Show webcast live at SEMOESPN.com. Now, let's go live to Wings, etc. for the Red Hawks Coaches Show.
Welcome in another edition of the Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings, etc. We are in the Cape Girardeau location today, by the way, and we will be right back here in Cape next week. So I hope you make plans. If you have not made plans for lunch, we invite you to stop on by. Plenty of room here for you, and we have an outstanding lineup on the Coaches Show today. Of course, headlined by the Red Hawks head football coach, Tom Matukowicz is here. The offensive line coach, Ben Blake, will be joining us. And the reigning Ohio Valley Conference newcomer of the week, Red Hawks quarterback, Daniel Santa Catarina, is going to join us coming up a little bit later on in the show. We want to remind you, on Mondays, they have their award-winning jumbo wings for just 69 cents. Here at Wings, etc., and their menu has a lot more than just the wings. They have their freshly made burgers, wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, and much, much more. And their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $6.49 here at Wings, etc. in Cape. Let's welcome in the Red Hawks head football coach, Tom Matukowicz. Coach, how are you?
I'm good.
This is a good show for you because your wife is here at this show.
Yeah, you know, all of a sudden she shows up after a dub, you know.
At 70 points, that was the key to get her to the show.
Evidently. So the boss is here, so this will be a little bit more on the PG version.
You're going to have to clean it up is what you're saying.
Yeah, all right. She's definitely my main boss.
Keep it clean. We'll talk with Daniel Santa Catarina coming up, Coach, but how about his performance on Saturday at Tennessee Tech? 395 yards passing. I don't think he saw the field in the fourth quarter, did he?
No, and, you know, he was I think he played like that on Saturday because he played like that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. He was really locked in, and he even looked better. You know, we talked throughout the week, and you could just tell he was feeling really good about things and getting more confidence. And, you know, people don't understand this is a new offense. He's got a whole new coach. Everything's new, and so it takes a little while. And you know, it feels like things are just starting to come together.
With his offensive coordinator, Jeremy McDowell, I wonder if McDowell knew that he got knocked down a peg on the single-game passing list, because Jeremy McDowell was the third all-time single-game leading passer, 391-yard game that he had against SIU back in 2001 against you guys. And with the 395 yards, Santa Catarina now third on the single-game passing list, and Jeremy McDowell got knocked down a peg.
Yeah, he didn't. After the game, he told me he wished he'd have took him out a little earlier.
just right before he completed that last pass.
Yeah, I would. If I'm Santa, I'm walking in going, hey, here's the calls I think we need to run this week. You know, now that you know, I'm pretty much dethroned you, and they don't even remember who you are anymore, right?
Are many around that saw McDowell? I saw him. He was a good quarterback. All right, 70 points you put on Tennessee Tech. What I thought was interesting, you know, coaches obviously have their pulse on the team, and they know what's going on in all respects. But before the football game, you and I were doing our normal pregame interview, and you said, hey, there's something about our offense. We have been practicing. I'm like, we're going to be good today. You knew the offense was going to come out and be good, didn't you?
Yeah. I just like we talked about earlier, just practice was good, and they don't seem to be thinking. You know, it's hard to play fast and physical if you're thinking, right?
Sure.
It's all about habits and reacting, not thinking. And so it just feels like we're just playing a little faster. And I think the thing that stood out after I watched the game is we played really physical, you know, and, you know, clear minds make fast legs. Like, they're not thinking anymore because they've repped it and repped it and repped it. And so hopefully, you know, they're just trying to tee off on dudes.
Well, the offensive performance, I believe 692 yards. That's a single-game record. The 70 points is against a Division I opponent, and I think that's the way you have to look at some of the records. What'd you do against a Division I? You know,
sure.
You might be able to run up a lot of points on Quincy, but, you know, how you doing? And to do it in a conference game and to do it on the road. I mean, all those things kind of combining together to say, man, this was impressive.
Well, and I think, you know, I want to make sure everybody hears this is, 14 of those points were the offense wasn't even on the field.
Right.
So sometimes, oh, man, our offense, but really this is a team. Like we blocked a punt for a touchdown and we scored on defense for a touchdown. So the whole team could take pride in that record. It's not just offensive people, which is important, doesn't get pointed out enough. As a head coach, like everybody had a piece of it. Our scout team defense did a great job all week. That helped our offense execute. Like it's a team award. It's a team accomplishment, that 70 points.
And when you say that all of the points weren't scored when the offense was on the field, the first non-offensive touchdown you had was the blocked punt. Now, I don't know who blocked it. We do knew
Aaron Alston.
Okay. Alston
freshman,
did it. And then Taylon Waller was the guy that fell on it. And what I thought was pretty cool, not only did Waller fall on that ball for a touchdown, he later caught a touchdown pass.
Yeah.
So a young player, haven't really called his name a whole lot, and all of a sudden he's in the end zone making an impact not only on special teams but on offense.
Yeah, a lot of those younger players are doing a great job. I think obviously a bunch of young guys on offense are really showing up also.
The offense got a lot deeper as the score widened. We started to see some guys on the field that we haven't seen a whole lot of, namely Geno Hess at the running back position. He looks like he's going to be a good player. He runs hard.
Yeah, we knew that we signed two really, really good freshman quarterbacks and then, of course, or running backs, and then Mark Robinson. We knew what they were capable of, but until you get out there and all that. But the thing I was impressed with was their ball security. I mean, they did a great job taking care of the football. It was never in jeopardy. They didn't make a lot of mental errors. They're gifted, so they're going to do what they do. But they also played like not like a true freshman. Like they've been coached and they know what good football looks like.
And Zion Custis, his second real crack at getting a lot of carries in a Division I game, had the good game against Eastern Kentucky. He averages about 5 yards per carry and gets in the end zone twice again.
Yeah, great performance by him again. It's just good to have depth if you're going to run the football. Those guys are going to get banged up, and of course Quez. It just didn't look right that first series, and so we just, you don't want a player to get injured when he's not 100% either, because they're not able to do what he's capable of doing. And then obviously once it got going, then we put him in a boot, took his pads off, and tried to get him rested.
Yeah, for those who didn't follow it, Marquez Terry did start the game, but he got 2 carries for 2 yards. You were a little bit more pass-oriented on that opening drive to score the first touchdown. Then you see Marquez Terry not come back in the football game, but by the time you saw the ball offensively for the second time, you're up 14-0.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying you took him out because you felt you had the game under control, but it was a perfect time to get him out of there and maybe, think about the Austin Peay game.
Yeah, exactly. So that worked out.
The first drive of the game, Coach, you take it 7 plays, 83 yards, 2 minutes, 33 seconds. What did you see from the opening drive?
Well, we didn't start great, and we got it to 3rd and 8, and I was about ready to start snapping on dudes. But then Santa found a way, had great protection all night, was able to hit that wide dig. I don't know if you remember the play to Christian Wilkerson, and that was a huge, 3rd and 8.
Yep.
Right? If we have to punt right there, it's a totally different game. And then being able to convert that 3rd down and then taking the deep post. We've been off here in the past years about being able to throw the ball vertical. Like they'd be open, but we would never connect. And we had the O-line did their job, the wideouts did their job, and Santa did his job, and so it all kind of came together.
And you look at the last 6 quarters of football that you've played, Coach, 3rd down conversions were tougher to come by early in the season, but as you progressed in the second half of the Eastern Kentucky game, you go 5 of 7 on 3rd down, and you go 10 of 15 on Saturday night.
Yeah, and I think the huge key is we're not in 3rd and longs because we're executing better, no stupid penalties, you're not getting TFLs, so you're in 3rd and manageable, which is a lot easier to get.
I guess, coaches will always find things. I mean, you could play as close to perfect a game as possible, but coaches, there is no such thing as a perfect game. So you're dissecting everything. You probably would have liked to have seen less flags on the field on Saturday.
Yeah. And so that was definitely we just like I had a meeting today is the margin versus Tennessee Tech was this big. You had margin to make mistakes. It's going to be like that the next, I don't know how many games we got left, 5 or 6, I forget, but they're going to be like that.
Right.
So now you make a stupid penalty. We're not just going to wing it 80 yards, score a touchdown. Like a stupid penalty, and the drive's going to be stopped and stuff like that. So that was the major takeaway is let's play smart. How do we play smart? No stupid penalties. Now, there were some that were from guys that haven't played before. So because they were in there, they were confused, and so there were some penalties like that. But still, it's hard because there are some effort and aggression penalties that are fine line because I don't, it's easy to not get a penalty. Just don't go hard. But you want that. You want to be on that edge.
Which is why the teams that are usually the least penalized are usually toward the bottom of the standings, right?
So, so I always take it back to play smart, no stupid ones. Like we're going to have an aggression penalty or whatever, but we can't have just a blocking behind the ball 20 yards to get a touchdown call back, which is what we got Saturday, right? Can't have those type of things. Late hit on the quarterback. Quarterback is going to be treated different from here on out to the rest of my life. And so we have to adjust as coaches. We have to adjust as players. Like you can't just hit a quarterback like you used to. And these are all things that we got to get better at because these margins get tighter and tighter as we play better teams.
Defensively in that football game, Coach, I think you had 4 sacks going into the game through your first 4 games, and you had 3 in the first half. You were really disrupting any rhythm in their passing game.
Yeah, same thing. We stayed on task, got them in 3rd and long, so we had to hold on to it. And then we talked a lot about him moving in the pocket, and those guys just really did a good job responding.
As far as your halftime speech, okay, you've got a big lead going in at halftime. What were you talking to your team about? Don't let up on the gas pedal. Is that what you're talking about? Or?
Well, I was the penalty thing.
Okay.
Was making sure we don't do things like that. And then it's that same thing. Like, why did the first half go? Because we were playing with great intensity, but we were having fun. Like you look at our sideline, it looked like practice. We weren't stiff and rigid, and oh my God, we were like, having fun. And so just keep that intensity, and that's how the game's meant to be played. And keep having fun out there.
It's funny. There are some people probably that had never heard of a sideline camera for the home team or for for you, that a coach would want a camera on his sideline during a game or during practice. But that's what you have introduced here, and you did it when you first got here.
Oh, yeah.
Explain that to people that say, why would the coach want to be filming the sideline during a game?
Well, momentum's a big deal with football. Energy's a big deal with football. And just because we got 11 out there, well, these other 70 dudes got, you need to be working too. So, energy givers, like, don't just sit there and be like, I'm like, hey, let's go, let's get this, because that feeds me. And also bad body language. You could tell, who's not all in. They're going to sit over here so their girlfriend from the 10th row can look at him with their nice little fancy gloves on and all this stuff. And that way, instead of talking to him about it, you pull him in the office and look at the screen and go, look, bro, this is who you are. More importantly, this is who your team sees. Like when our team looks back at you, this is what they're seeing. What are they seeing? They're seeing a guy that's selfish, that doesn't care about his teammates. And so it's just easier with video because you just hit the play button. And so plus there's just I've told them, hey, I'm filming sideline today, and we didn't have the people to do it. But just so they know, like it matters. And I think that's just, Coach Kill did it when I didn't come up with it. Coach Kill did it when I was with him, and it's very effective.
How many things have you picked up over the years? I know as a broadcaster, sometimes you listen to a lot of different guys and you say, oh, I like that phrase. And this guy, I think he does a good. And so you kind of craft a little bit about your terminology on occasion. How many different coaches over the years have you kind of picked and brought some philosophies or things like sideline cameras and things that kind of all combine to what you are as a head coach versus what you were as an assistant coach?
Well, I hope if you ever watch me, you would see a little piece of every head coach I've ever coached for. But one thing I have learned as a head coach is what's important is who I am. I'm not Jerry Kill. I'm not Matt Campbell. I'm not Dave Dorn. I'm Tom Atukowicz. So the point here is I got to be at my best, my authentic best. What is that? And so I can't, oh, this is how Jerry did it. Well, Jerry's Jerry. I'm Tom. You know what I mean? So there's that piece where you like that tactic or whatever, but you got to make sure that fits and fits with who you are as a person and how you're building this thing from the foundation up,
Tom and Jerry. I mean, that was one of my favorite cartoons growing up.
Pretty solid.
But is there a tougher thing to say to a guy, a football player, when you bring him into your office and you're showing him, what's going on the sideline? Is there a thing that digs deeper for a guy than to be called selfish or not a good teammate?
No, that hits home. I usually leave it with a dramatic pause. You show it and then go, that's selfish. And then there's like a dramatic pause because I feel like you dig deep into their soul. And at that point, they have a choice to make.
It's the uncomfortable silence that you're looking for.
So you ram it home so they leave no doubt. And most aren't.
Sure.
They're just not aware. Like self-awareness has left humanity, right?
Right.
Like no one's self-aware. Go to the mall and there's dudes walking around like, hey, did you look in the mirror today? Or someone would say something in a conversation that doesn't belong because there's no self-awareness. So I think sometimes just showing them, hey, look, do you realize this is the energy you're giving back to your teammates or whatever?
So the Redhawks win the game 70-38, and the 70 points we mentioned earlier, a school record. Was there anything offensively that you kind of watched and thought, maybe we need to clean that up? I guess it's hard to pick apart a performance like that, but,
No, I'm a professional at it. I had a list. They saw it this morning. I think one thing is, we're dancing around too much. Like those screens and stuff, when they catch it, they need to go. Like this isn't that because the point here is to get it out quick before the defense reacts, right?
Right.
Several times we're out there dancing, and they just got to realize not every play's going for a touchdown. Go get what you can get and break a tackle with your pad level. So that would be the number one thing on offense. And then there's still a protection issue that we got to get worked out.
Although I thought Santa was pretty clean, and he had time to survey the field and make a lot of those throws.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that goes along with the job that Ben Blake's doing with his offensive line and several new players there, and he's done a great job. It's hard, like most teams we face, they either throw it all the time or run it all the time. It's kind of easy to get good at one or the other, but we run the ball and we throw it, and Coach Blake has done a great job with his offensive line, and they've gotten better. We didn't start well. We needed to keep getting better, and to have each week.
And that's one of the things that you've really been focusing in on was quick starts. Well, mission accomplished at least in Cookeville on Saturday.
Yeah, that was great to see. Just the level of intensity for one, and two, we go out, we score a touchdown. Defense, you 3 and out. Not only 3 and out, it's 4th and long. So now I can call all out max, right? Block a punt. It's 14-0 before the band gets set down, right? And then we go down 21-0, and now you just can't screw it up. You got the game. Just don't screw it up before they even have time to recover,
So you said you did point out, I know a lot of times coaches don't want to talk about, what has happened in the past. The past is a past. This is your team. But one thing I thought was interesting that you did point out to your team ahead of time was the last time a SEMO football team won a game in Cookeville, and it's an outlier type of stat because it's not like Tennessee Tech has been this dominant football program. They have not. They've been good, but they have not been a dominant team. But the last SEMO football team to win a game in Cookeville was in 2003. I mean, Jack Tomko was a quarterback. Willie Ponder was playing wide receiver. That's the last time a SEMO they weren't even the Redhawks. They were the Indians the last time a SEMO football team won in Cookeville. And you told your team that.
I did. Every team's different. Some teams couldn't handle that stat. If they lack confidence, then they'll be like, oh, my gosh, well, we're not going to be able to win. But this team, the confidence is not their problem. And I wanted them to know that the legacy this team's building, like winning the wheel and all these things that they're doing, like this is another great chapter in this book if we can get it done. And here's what it takes to get it done. But, yeah, I wanted this team to know it,
Well, it's mission accomplished in terms of finally getting that streak off the board. Now, the team you're going to play on Saturday was second in the league last year, finishing behind Jacksonville State, who we don't know if they're ever going to lose another conference game. Hopefully they will in 2 weeks at Houck Stadium. But you look at what Austin Peay has put together, Coach, and the only real shocking thing on their schedule was the way they were manhandled at UT Martin. I don't think anybody saw that coming. That's why score comparison in college football is the most inexact science in the history of inexact sciences, because 1 week you get UT Martin that just trucks Austin Peay, a good team, and then they lose to a previously winless Murray State team. So you can't figure that out. But Austin Peay is the only thing on the schedule where you kind of look and say, wow, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, I mean, I always just look at the film. They got a lot of players back from that really good team last year. I think their offensive skill is as good as anybody we've played. They're physical up front, and they've been able to score several points. They kicked, the Jacksonville State, what that score, pull it up.
Yeah.
It's 32-48 or something?
49-34.
5 field goals.
Or, I'm sorry, 48-32.
Austin Peay kicked 5 field goals.
So they were in the red
so
zone.
you
is what
say,
you're saying.
yeah, I mean, they could have beat them, obviously. Yeah. So I mean, they have a lot of skill. They've given up some points, which they hadn't last year. I haven't really watched it well enough to understand them on defense yet. But it's going to be a huge challenge. We didn't play good last year. That was the other thing that just you hate. They got a lot of energy. Their coach's energy. He's a big energy guy. They've had 2 really big games up to our game, Jacksonville State. And Tennessee State is kind of their SIU. They're right next to each other.
Sure.
And it's a big game for them. So I know they're going to have them ready to come into homecoming. And traditionally we've played well at home because of the crowds and the energy that gives us. So we're just trying to focus on the details and try to win Monday.
The only team that runs the ball better than Austin Peay is Eastern Kentucky, and you've already seen them. Yeah. And Jacksonville State, I think, kind of showed you what's going to happen if you can't throw the football, because they couldn't throw the football on Jacksonville State. Austin Peay can throw the football, Coach, but they are averaging 242 yards rushing per game. Yep. That tells you right away this is a physical line that you're going to be looking at.
Exactly, and with great personnel. Their backs break a lot of tackles. Their quarterback has had long runs. He's not a normal quarterback. Like that, when you see it, it's option. It's option football. It's not. It's Georgia Tech. It's all those type of things. Now, it doesn't look like Georgia Tech as far as schematically, but the quarterback, both quarterbacks, I think, are number 2, number 3 rusher. Like, that's their guy. Like, they're an option football team. Quarterback runs the ball. That's who we got to stop. And that's what makes it hard, too, though. Eastern Kentucky was normal-style college football running the ball. Well, this is option, so you can't just load it all right up here because they have answers for all that. And so now you got to be disciplined. Can't give up the big play. You got to get them third down. If you get them to third down, you have success, just like anybody that doesn't throw the ball as much.
Well, only Eastern Kentucky has thrown it less in terms of attempts, but Jeremiah Oatsvall, which is their quarterback, the one thing, obviously he can scramble, but he's probably a better passer than anybody Eastern Kentucky's got on their roster.
Exactly. Great player, very creative. That's the thing that makes him probably a little different, all of a sudden.
Is he a Johnny Manziel type guy?
Yeah. Exactly.
And as far as the game last year, I mean, he was the guy that did the most damage against you.
Exactly. Did a great job throwing it and running it, and, got on us, and
they're obviously they were a good team. Probably should have made the playoffs. I think they kind of got jobbed there because they had to play a couple of money games that they lost, and most FCS teams lose their money games. But in terms of the way that they want to come at you, how tough is it to prepare in 1 week for a team that is going to be an option football-oriented type team?
Well, we prepared for them in the summer. I mean, we really did as a defense. Yeah. That's one opponent. We made sure that we were schematically good. Our players understood some of that stuff because you can't. You can't just wait till today.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's not possible. So we've worked on them all summer long.
And you are seeing a team that runs that type of offense less and less because it seems like everybody wants to spread it out, and everybody wants high tempo, and everybody wants to throw the football. So you don't see it as much, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it makes it challenging. But, you know, take schematics out. What makes this the hardest is their level of skill. Because you're maybe confused, and all of a sudden, like, a great player's right there. So we have to tackle well.
And as far as getting ready for Austin Peay defensively, I know you said you haven't looked a whole lot, but just overall, what's their mentality on defense? What kind of a
they're
defense
a
are they
four-man
gonna
front.
run?
Their defensive ends are really, really good. It's going to be a great matchup. I forget I think it might be number 2 or I forget. But one of their defensive end and Forbes are going to have a battle. I think they're really good at what they both do, and so that's going to be fun to watch.
So as far as individual matchups, if you're at Houck Stadium on Saturday, keep an eye on SEMO's left tackle and working against their defensive end.
Yeah. He's a great player. You know, he's not a FBS player because he's only like 6-footer. But if he was taller, man, he'd be an SEC type kid. He just gets after the quarterback. He's tough. He's relentless, always running to the ball. It's going to be fun for those guys. But they fly around. They create some really good turnovers. I think Tennessee State might have turned it over 5. I forget how many exactly. But Austin Peay started 3 drives and inside their 30. I mean, Tennessee State's 30. So, I mean, they're obviously opportunistic there with the takeaways.
And as far as what they do on the offensive side of the football, once you start just thinking about, hey, we got to pack the box and, be able to slow the run down, you really have to worry about play action with this team.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I mean, they got really good skill. They got a great wideout, dominant X, where he'll take the ball and, he's really good. So, you got to just play smart. You really do. You can't be stupid and try to win the game in the first quarter.
There are a lot of people. The head coach is Will Healy. He's in his 3rd season. Coach, he's only 32 years old, but there are already people saying, like, oh, he's probably not going to be at Austin Peay very long. That kind of shows you when you've got a coach who is going to, maybe kind of, take a step forward and jump up a level, and we'll see how it all turns out. But, when you've got a coach like that, then you're probably talking about an excellent recruiter.
Yeah, absolutely. Every job's different. Some jobs are recruiting jobs. Some jobs are developmental jobs. Like every job is just different. How you win at each job needs to be different. But he's obviously got down what he needs to do at Austin Peay and is very successful at it. Hopefully, if that's his dream to move on, good for him. But I know he's a good family man. I like watching his teams play. They play hard. They play physical. And so, it's hard not to root for a guy like that, just not this Saturday.
7-year assistant at the University of Chattanooga. He was actually a college quarterback for the Richmond Spiders, and they won the national championship at Richmond in 2008. And he was on that team.
Yeah. And I think he's a football guy. Like, he's really grown up. And I think he was a head coach without even being a coordinator. So that tells you the level of what people thought of him. And even early on in his career, he's got it.
Well, and just think about how tough is it to get a head coaching job at Division I at age 30?
Yeah.
It's almost
first
unheard
of all,
of.
how tough is it to just get one, period?
Right.
Like, there's 120 people that do what I do in the world. FCS Division I or 1AA head coaches, like, there's just not a many. And so he got that opportunity. He's recruited that state his whole career. Like, it was just a really good fit.
All right, and that will be their head coach. They'll be in here 1 o'clock kickoff. And one of the cool things about the Tennessee Tech game is last night game. No more night games. You don't have to wait around all day in a hotel or, here in Cape waiting to get to the football stadium. You're playing early from now on out.
Exactly. I know the Moose Knuckles will be salty about it, but they got to adapt and adjust, just like I tell my team. Like, it is what it is. You still got to bring it.
improvise, adapt, overcome is what you're saying. All right, the Moose Knuckles. And we've got a nice crowd here at Wings, Etc. We're going to bring up the offensive line coach, Ben Blake. Tell us a little bit about how your relationship started with Coach Blake.
Well, I didn't know him before I hired him. One of our assistants, Ricky Kuhn, had worked with him at a previous job. It was a huge hire for us in the O-line, and we interviewed, unfortunately, like 25 O-line coaches. I was ready to end my life, but I think what stood out to me was two things. Obviously he hit all the things that were my non-negotiables, like he's a good man, he's a good husband. But he like his goal in life is to be a Hall of Fame O-line coach. Like that is what he wants to do, and is doing a great job of it. And then he's different. Like he will look at things not from just a traditional standpoint. Even when I interviewed him, he brought up some stuff that's non-traditional that I really liked, and really stood out. He's done a good job, and he and his family are here, and they're just not only good for our kids and our program, but good for the community. They're great community members, and it's just very blessed to have him and his family on our staff.
What makes a good offensive line coach?
Well,
I'm sure it's more than one thing, but
yeah.
if you're deciding, if this guy is a really good offensive line coach, what are you talking about?
Well, he gets his players to play well. I mean, I know that's that's kind of tongue in cheek, but really that is what it is, and it's really hard to play O-line. So you need a guy that's done it before, that knows how to help kids. Not every kid's built the same way, so you got to be able to adjust your techniques and how to help a kid when he's struggling getting it done, what you need to get done. But and then the same things that make a good coach. Obviously being able to motivate and inspire your players and recruit them.
How much, when you talk about position coaches, like just specifically Coach Blake, how much is he involved in the recruiting? I mean, how many of your coaches, how many is everybody in on
everybody
recruiting?
Recruits. Everybody is really responsible for their room. Ultimately the O-line recruiting is on him and Coach McDowell, just like it is on all of our assistants.
All right, as we also are going to have Daniel Santacaterina on here, Coach. So this will be the last time we get to talk to you today. Tell us a little bit about how Daniel ended up here at Southeast Missouri State and when he was, suddenly was on your radar.
Well, he's from Chicago. He comes from an unbelievable family. I got to know the family because I coached his brother at Northern Illinois, where his high school and DeKalb, Illinois is only like 20, 30 minutes away. So we knew the family. When he decided to transfer, I got a phone call that he was going to, and I think ultimately he fell in love with Jeremy and the offense that we were going to run. So I think he liked that. I think he liked our quarterback situation, and he also liked where he thought maybe he could make a difference on this football team. And I don't know. The only worst part is probably he didn't want to play for me. Other than that, he put all that to side.
So you're saying he already knew about you from his brother Michael?
Yeah, so
okay.
That was probably the thing I had to overcome the most. But I remember he took one of and Bruce Loy's here, but I think him and his wife took one of the first, or him and his mom, took one of the first flights from Chicago to Cape. It was right when that was going on,
Gotcha.
Right after Christmas or whatever. And that is helpful because his parents are going to come to every game. Like that's that kind of family. So that was helpful, and I think he loved our town. Like he really did. Like he came and he loved the town, the river, and all that Cape Girardeau has to offer.
The radio stations probably were a big draw for you.
No, I don't think not even a little bit. No,
all right. So and just in the preparation for Austin Peay, Coach, and we'll let you go get your lunch and enjoy it with your wife. But keys to beating Austin Peay. For fans who are going to be coming to the game and they say, okay, this is what the Red Hawks have to do against this really good team. Most people believe they're the second best team in the OVC coming into the season.
Well, number one, we don't have to do anything special. That's what I want our team to know. Like, yeah, the margin's tighter, but we're good too. And so ultimately, you just got to play well. All the things that we talked about, you're not going to. If you turn it over, you're not going to win the game. So obviously, those type of things, and you just got to execute. like at the end of both teams are going to play really, really hard, right? And they're both two good football teams. So now it's going to come down who executes better. So that comes down to your preparation and how important it is that you prepare for whatever role you're going to have on Saturday.
All right. We're going to talk with the offensive line coach, Ben Blake, coming up. Thanks to Coach Tuke. Let's take a timeout here from Wings, etc. in Cape. Redhawks Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN.
Wings, etc. in Cape and Jackson beg to differ.
Welcome back. Redhawks Coaches Show from Wings, etc. We are in the Cape Girardeau location. We were in Jackson last week, and by the way, we will be back here in Cape next Monday at 12 noon with the Redhawks Coaches Show. And we thank Coach Tuke for his time a little bit earlier. And now we're going to talk with the Redhawks offensive line coach, Ben Blake. The Redhawks quarterback, Daniel Santa Catarina, is here as well. Coach Blake, what was on the menu for you? What did you choose?
I had the grilled chicken bacon sandwich.
Okay, so you went sandwich.
Yeah, I did. But
right.
It had bacon, so that's the best
Is that
part.
a staple?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing that makes bacon better is more bacon.
Okay, I understand. You are the offensive line coach at Southeast, obviously, as we mentioned. You are always in a constant process, I'm sure, of grading your guys. How did they grade out? Just because, there were 70 points put on the board doesn't mean everybody graded out well. How did they grade out?
It was a good day. A lot of guys had some PRs just from the season. Really kind of tried to challenge them. We had started to dominate teams late in games, and I just challenged them, hey, we need to get started fast and do that, and you saw that. I mean, in the first drive, there were guys on the ground. It was really fun to watch them just play physical and play fast. It's like Coach Tuke said, I didn't want them to think we were doing our basic stuff. Just go play fast, and we were able to execute.
I know skill position guys probably love playing fast and up-tempo. How do the linemen feel about it?
They hate it.
Okay.
They do. But our guys have bought into the system, and they know that with the extra conditioning that we do, it pays off. They see it late in drives. Even though they're tired, that means the guy across from them is really tired. So they just got to continue to lock into their technique and take good footwork, and most likely we're going to be able to hold those blocks.
How good is it as an offensive line coach to know that you have a leader, an anchor, an All-American sitting out at left tackle with Drew Forbes?
I think the quarterback is happy. You know, they don't have to worry about the left side. He does a great job. You know, what you see in the game is what you see in practice. Like he's going to work hard. But I'll tell you that the glue of that line is Lucas Orchard, the center.
The center.
He's the glue. I mean, he makes all the calls. He makes all the checks. He gets everybody lined up. Half the time he's telling the other guys what they need to do and where they need to look. And if we didn't have him, it would be a little more difficult, in my opinion.
So how tough is it to get someone like a Lucas Orchard who is really the captain up there and knows just exactly what to do in pretty much every scenario?
You got to lean on the coaches that you recruit him from. You know, he's a East Central kid. Our head coach, their head coach is really good friends with Coach Tuke, and he said, look, if I had to start an FCS program, I'd take this kid. Because you look at him and you're like, yeah, this guy's not very good. But he is. He's a worker. You know, he's been told that his whole life. And we had to fight for him. The only other option he had was a D2 school. And he was, like, seriously considering the D2 school. So to get him, we're glad we're here. It's more about just the makeup of the kid. You know, having a high IQ, he understands the game. He understands where he needs to be and where everybody else needs to be. And they respect that because he plays hard. He plays really, really hard. He's always on the threshold of being there. But, you know, the thing with him is he gets everybody else in line, and they want to play hard too.
Van Cleve, Missouri is where Lucas is from. Where is Van Cleve?
It's actually Van Cleve, Mississippi.
Mississippi,
yeah,
okay, so I've got it wrong on my thing.
It is in the Delta.
So he's
it is
down
way
in
down there. It is basically on the ocean. So not a lot of people know about it. Comes from a great family. You know, his mom is a teacher, educator, so that kind of is the background of it there too. And grandma, I mean, mom and grandma are probably going to be at every game. And if there was any issue I ever had, I could probably make a phone call and it would get cleaned up pretty quickly.
So have you always wanted to be a coach? Did you think you were going to I know a lot of guys growing up, they're convinced they're going to play professional football. What were your aspirations?
Well, I knew I was not going to play the NFL. It really kind of fell in my lap, honestly. I had just finished playing. I was getting to the end, and my head coach at Concordia asked me, you know, hey, will you be the GA? And we'll pay for your school. You can help coach, and we'd love for you to do that. We think you'd be really good at it. And I wasn't sure if I want to do that. I was actually working as a bartender in the off time. And
you were a business major,
yeah,
right?
I was a business. Yep, business major. I minored in public relations, and I ended up getting my master's in marketing. And I was coming to that end, so I didn't like school. So I said, I don't know if I want to do that. But then I thought about it. If I don't take this opportunity, I'm probably not going to get my master's. So I did it. I enjoyed it. You know, back then, like, I was the GA. You know, sometimes you get a couple of assistants. I was the only guy. So I was breaking down, you know, film, stacked VCRs and trying to push and pull and get everything. It wasn't like today where you can click some buttons and just put it into the computer. Like,
I mean, back in the day, they used to meet halfway and do tape exchanges.
I was
right?
that guy.
Yeah.
With video in hand, would drive and meet them halfway. I was part of that.
So you are originally now. First of all, Concordia. You played at Concordia. Yep. Some people are probably saying, "Where's Concordia?"
Yeah, it's in Mequon, Wisconsin. A lot of people, if they looked at it, they would think it's like Mequon, but it's actually Mequon. It's just north of Milwaukee. It's right on Lake Michigan. It's like right on top of a 75-foot bluff that you look down to Lake Michigan. It's a cool setting. Now, there's a lot more cool stuff there than when I went to school, but it's a Division III school. My thing is I wanted to play. So picking a school, I wanted somewhere I could go play early, and that was a good team. And they had been pretty good. I ended up going and getting to start as a freshman, play all 4 years. We won a conference championship. So it was really fun to be able to be a part of that. And then, I'm originally from St. Louis. I was born there, so I'm a St. Louis sports fan.
I was just going to ask now, the Brewers are still alive in the playoffs.
They are.
I'm sure you probably saw a lot of Brewers baseball up there. And if you grew up a Cardinal fan, are you at all rooting for the Brewers here?
Yeah, I think it would be good for the Brewers to do it, especially being the only Central Division team left in there, kind of root for the Division too. But I went to a lot of Brewers games. It was really cheap then. They were terrible, so you could get tickets the day of for under $10.
Now, was this County Stadium or was this Miller
when I
Park?
first got there, it was County Stadium,
and then Miller Park.
Halfway through, I got to go to the Miller Park games. But I would wear Brewers stuff until they played the Cardinals, and then I was Cardinals out. So.
Well, what I think is interesting is if there was one reason to root for the Brewers for me, it would be because of Bob Uecker. Hall of Fame broadcaster. It would be kind of cool if he was there in '82 when they lost to the Cardinals. He never got to call a World Series winner, so it'd kind of be cool. We're kind of root for Uecker.
Yeah, there's no doubt. He's awesome. He was always fun to listen to, and obviously Major League, the movies. People don't know that's
Fantastic.
Probably him.
Harry Doyle, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It was good stuff.
But you're a baseball guy growing up, right?
I was a baseball guy growing up. Didn't play football until 7th grade. I was actually the only reason I played football probably is I was signing up for summer baseball in a new town. And the head football coach was the guy signing up and saw a big body and said, have you ever played football? I was like, no. So started and ended up loving it, and ended up becoming the main love after the first love of baseball.
Who knew that day, that 7th grade kid signing up for summer baseball would now be a Division I collegiate coach?
Yeah, it's really crazy, especially just like I said, I never applied for jobs either. Someone's called me. Coach Kuhn called me about this and said, hey, there's an opening. Would you be interested? And fortunately, Coach Tuke took his advice and interviewed me, and he kind of told you a story there. But
one of 25 that he interviewed, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was fun, though. It's awesome. The first game, obviously, I got to coach in here was a Division I game going to play with we had obviously Kansas a couple years ago was fun, and Memphis that first year. Just didn't think I'd have those type of opportunities, so it's fun to be a part of it.
All right, what's going to be the key as far as your guys are concerned on Saturday to get this homecoming victory?
I think the biggest thing for us again was we got to come out and be physical early. This is a team that feeds on the hype. They have a lot of it. Electricity there. They've got the video graphics out all the time. And that's just kind of who they are. They're hyped up. There's going to be a lot of noise there. They think they can just come in and roll us, and I think our guys have something to prove from last year. And a lot of those guys that they just want the opportunity to compete. And this is a good group up front that they have defensively. Jason Williams is a defensive all-conference guy from a year before and is doing a great job. And then you got the Nate kid across from the other side is just as good, the Missouri transfer. We played against both these guys last year, the Nate Howard. So but really it's the inside guys. I think that's where they're a lot better this year than they were last year, is the two inside guys. 55 is their starter. He was so good. The Howard kid was, I think, sat out the first half for whatever reason this last game, and they moved him to DN. So that kind of tells you how athletic he is, even though he's a D tackle for him. So we're going to see some guys that are a little more twitchy than we did this last week. So good footwork, hand placement, and aim points are going to be big.
Hopefully the biggest crowd of the year at Houck Stadium for homecoming. It's going to be at 1 o'clock. Coach, we appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Glad you enjoyed the sandwich with bacon.
Thank you. Yes.
Thanks for your time. We appreciate
you.
it. Coach Ben Blake, offensive line coach for the Red Hawks. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll hear from the Red Hawks quarterback. Daniel Santa Catarina is here. It's the Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings, etc. in Cape on SEMO ESPN.
Mostly sunny skies, a light south to southeast breeze, upper 80s to near 90 here again this afternoon, almost 20 degrees above average, 70 tonight, sunny and mid-upper 80s tomorrow, cold front bringing showers and storms Tuesday night and Wednesday. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ken Boone.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Greenberg for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
Welcome back. Red Hawks Coaches Show at Wings, etc. in Cape Girardeau. Don't forget, we'll be right back here at 12 noon next Monday in the Cape Girardeau location. Don't forget, Monday, 69 cents for the award-winning jumbo wings. And their menu, of course, includes the award-winning wings, but much more. They've got freshly made burgers, wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs, and much more. Their appetizer lineup includes their ultimate nachos and their deep-fried pickle spears, and their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $6.49. They are open 7 days a week at Wings and late on the weekends because the games sometime run late. In fact, we've got playoff baseball today. You can watch it here at Wings. 3 games in playoff baseball. We've got Monday Night Football tonight, and you can watch it all in high def right here at Wings, etc. Let's welcome in the Red Hawks quarterback, Daniel Santa Catarina. How are you?
How you doing? I'm doing good.
Yeah, congratulations on your Ohio Valley Conference Newcomer of the Week award. That had to feel good.
Thank you.
I know. I'm sure as a team guy, you know, you're just more worried about the win. But hey, individual accolades, nothing wrong with liking that, right?
Yeah, and I was thinking there must not have been much competition. I don't know how many people are newcomers this year, you know, so who knows?
Anybody that is a freshman or a junior college transfer, I mean, anybody who it's their first year with a particular program. So 395 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Did you feel, I mean, when you're in a zone, do you feel like you're in a rhythm? What was it like to, you know, go out there and really compete at a high level like you did Saturday?
Yeah, once you get in the zone, you're kind of locked in, and you just go from there. And obviously, it wasn't just me; it was a team type deal. It was great protection all night. The receivers were making unbelievable plays, and we just got the job done offensively.
And you were very accurate, and you got an opportunity really to get some other guys involved in the offense. Guys, you know, we haven't really called their name a whole lot, but guys like Colby Cornett, who caught a touchdown pass. This is a guy who played quarterback in high school and has made the move to wide receiver. Yeah,
he's an awesome guy. I know him pretty well. Ever since I first came here last semester, he's been awesome to me. And it was really great for him to get some good action last Saturday.
Can you imagine that, though? I mean, you being a quarterback, how big of a transition it would be to go from high school quarterback to – can you imagine yourself going out and playing wideout?
No, because I'm not athletic enough to do it, so I wouldn't be able to do that.
Now, athletics run in your family, and that is an understatement. Now, I mean, make sure I get all this right. Your brother, Michael, played linebacker at Northern Illinois, played for Coach Tuke. Mm-hmm. Your sister, Jackie, a retired soccer player from the Chicago Red Stars. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You have a sister, Brianna. She played soccer at DePaul University. And you have a sister named Jenny who is currently playing soccer at Ohio University. I mean, that's a lot of trips for mom and dad and everybody to go watch everybody playing, right?
Yeah, it's they're almost done after my sister in a couple of years, so it'll be a little different for them without sports going on. But I have a niece coming up, little Audrey, so they'll be back on the going to games on the weekends soon. So
where did all of the soccer in your family come from? Did you play soccer?
I played soccer probably till I was in 4th grade.
Okay.
It wasn't great. Me and my brother were more rough than soccer players usually are, so we had to go to football. But, I don't know where it came from because my parents didn't play. So
take us to the Thanksgiving table, okay? Everybody's having Thanksgiving dinner. When the discussion comes up about who's the best athlete in the family, how's that discussion go?
Hey, everyone's got their own things. I don't know. My sister Jackie, her husband actually played at Louisville soccer. He played goalie too, so it gets really competitive. For now, I'll just say my niece Audrey is the best athlete to just kind of keep things.
So you've got
controversial.
So the one sister was a goalkeeper, and her husband is a goalkeeper. So
She was a midfielder defender.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to say, you had a bunch of goalkeepers. It's tough to get the potatoes. They're blocking you from even getting to the stuffing, I guess, at a Thanksgiving dinner. So as far as your career starting, you start out at Northern Illinois University, and obviously it was a cool thing. I was watching the game where NIU went to Nebraska and beat the Cornhuskers. What was it like playing in Lincoln in front of all of those fans? And how do you not get nervous in a situation like that?
Oh, I was definitely nervous at the beginning of the game, at least. It was unbelievable. Not much else you can say. It's just an experience I'll have for the rest of my life, and it's awesome. So.
All right, 15 of 22 you went in that particular football game. Did you feel kind of like you talked about at Tennessee Tech Saturday? Did you feel like you were in a bit of a zone that day in Lincoln?
No, I was.
No,
not like Tennessee Tech. I felt actually kind of out of rhythm against Nebraska, and we kind of pulled it together late. So, yeah, it was a little different experience. We got the job done, though. So,
how much different is coming and playing for Jeremy McDowell and his offense and his schemes different from what you have played before, or have you played in any schemes that are somewhat similar?
The thing I like about Coach McDowell's offense is just the freedom it gives me, and you gotta earn that trust in practice and making smart decisions. But NIU was a little bit different. They had I don't know if I fit the system exactly how they wanted it. They wanted a little bit more running quarterback and pound the ball a little bit more. So it was a little bit more handcuffed because that's the type of offense it is, and that's what they ask quarterbacks to do. So it was a nice little shake-up for me to come here, and I'm loving it. So
how about the way that you get to the line so quickly? How much of a challenge is that for you? Because oftentimes, you're trying to get the play out to everybody, but there's no such thing as a huddle anymore. I mean, who huddles? I mean, right. You don't see many teams huddle. How tough is it to get the play to your teammates?
Yeah, especially after maybe I ran the ball or I escaped the pocket and run. I'm kind of like out of breath, and I'm trying to give the play, and they're out of breath too. But honestly, Coach Knapp and Coach Tuke pushing us in practice and doing conditioning after practice, something I haven't done in college, but I think it really pays off. We're in great condition, and that's why we've been playing well in the fourth quarters.
How about all this offensive talent that you've got in the backfield? What's it like to have a running back like Marquez Terry?
He's awesome. He's almost too good because I just get comfortable handling the ball, and I get too comfortable doing that sometimes, just watching him run. And but he's just so good. He's so talented.
How about these young running backs that we're seeing now? I mean, these two freshmen, Geno Hess and Zion Custis. Man, these guys look like they are talented.
I was watching. Obviously, Zion's gotten action the last couple games, and then Geno, he's from around where I'm from, kind of in Illinois, a little south of me, and he's really talented. I told him on the sidelines, like, you're doing a good job, man. Just keep it up. So
Geneva, Illinois. Now, I'm from Illinois. Is it in the Chicago area? Where is Geneva?
Yeah, it's probably about 35, 40 minutes west of Chicago.
Okay.
So,
have you ever heard of Aurelio's Pizza? They've got a lot of Aurelio's Pizza up there.
Yeah, one of our good friends, the Sarahs, actually, they own Aurelio's Pizza a block down from my house. So shout out Kevin Sarah.
I'm telling you, I grew up in Macomb, Illinois, which is a long way from where you are. But we had an Aurelio's there. Still have an Aurelio's. Best pizza I have ever had in my lifetime. Mm-hmm. And I've been to a lot of places, a lot of pizza. Pretty good pizza, though, right?
Yeah. It's a great place to be. Good family atmosphere there, so it's awesome. Good pizza.
What are you seeing when you are preparing for Austin Peay? Now, you weren't here for the game last year. I mean, the Red Hawks didn't play really well against Austin Peay, and Austin Peay did play well. So I guess the motivation for you is not like it could be for some who played in that game. Hey, we've got an axe to grind here after last year. But what do you see on video from Austin Peay that is going to be a challenge for you on Saturday?
So far, it's just preliminary film, and I've noticed they're pretty talented individually. Just looking at them, they got good DBs, DNs that are really talented. Their front seven's good, so it'll be a challenge for us. We just got to go about it just as any other week, just take care of our business, and hopefully we perform well again.
All right. Your family, I guess, comes to every game. Coach Tuke was saying, hey, they're going to be there. They're going to be taking that flight from Chicago down to Cape. How cool is that?
It's awesome. My mom and dad and everybody in my family, aunts and uncles, they make it to as many games as they can. I don't think my mom and dad have ever missed one of my football games. So, I mean, sometimes I just take for granted how fortunate I am to have so much support, and really thankful for my family.
How often are people asking you how to pronounce your last name? Because I remember the first time I saw that they had signed you, I thought, ooh, that might be a little tricky during a broadcast. And you know, obviously, I know it's a big upset, but Santa is what a lot of the guys call you. Do you like the nickname Santa? Do you not like Santa?
I've never really even, I don't know. It's just my brother was always called Santa, and then I came to Geneva program after he was there, so I was just Santa. And I went to NIU after he was there, so I was just Santa. And for the first time last semester, I had gone somewhere where they didn't already know me as Santa. They were like, "Who's this? You want us to call you Santa?" So it was a little different experience.
Yeah, you can't give yourself a nickname. That's not how it works.
Yeah,
you just have to live with whatever people give you as a nickname.
Exactly. So I don't know. It was a little different. But
yeah, even the broadcaster, I think one of your first touchdowns was, boy, Santa delivers here. And so, pegging the cheese meter, I know. So as far as the game against Austin Peay, it'll be your first time seeing homecoming. I'm sure it'll be the biggest crowd of the season at Hack. That's got to be exciting, knowing that it's the big homecoming game. And, you know, obviously you're going to get a chance to probably meet some former Red Hawks. That's when a lot of the guys, alums, will come back in for homecoming week and maybe get to meet some of the great players that ever played here.
Yeah, that'll be exciting experience. Hopefully we get all the fans we can get out there, and it'll be a great game, great atmosphere. So really
What's
exciting.
it like on game day, though? I mean, you're the quarterback. That's a different responsibility. Obviously, one of the most important positions on the field. What's it like on game day for you? Do you have nervous energy? Do you just have excitement? Do you have like a very low pulse rate like Nick Letang? Or what? How's it work?
There's always some nerves anytime you're playing a game, but this deep into my career, I've found a way to just kind of just go about it as any other day. That comes from preparation, just being comfortable with your prep and you know, their keys that they're showing you before the snap and everything. So it's just preparation mainly.
All right. It's going to be at 1 o'clock Saturday at Houck Stadium, the big homecoming game. Great that you stopped by. We didn't ask you, what'd you get off the menu?
I got the mild traditional wings.
All right. You kept it low-key. All right. You got lots of practices this week. Best of luck Saturday, Daniel. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right. Daniel Santa Catarina, Red Hawks quarterback. And that is going to wrap it up here from Wings, Etc. and the Coaches Show. Don't forget, big homecoming game will be at 1 o'clock Saturday at Houck Stadium against the Austin Peay Governors. We've got playoff baseball for you coming up next here on SEMO ESPN. It will be Game 3, the Houston Astros, the reigning world champions, and the Cleveland Indians. That's coming up next. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody, and for a final time, so long from Wings, Etc.